Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So when it comes to our health, we know that we're probably not eating the way we should. We're probably not getting the minerals, nutrients, vitamins, all of that like we should. Some of us gravitate toward supplements. Sounds like a great idea. The only question is which ones to take, how often, what about the potency? Can I overdo it? So many questions about supplements. We're going to boil it down, make it simple today with somebody who knows her stuff when it comes to supplements. I don't. I can't help you there. She can. She is the owner of a great holistic healing practice called Connect the Dots, and she's Merilee Ford, and she's back with us. How you doing today?
So good. Glad to be here.
I'm so happy we're talking about this because if you were in my kitchen right now and you opened up the cabinet, you would find all these supplements, and the bottles have not even been opened. The safety seal is still on them. I hear about something, Amazon, I buy them. Then I'm like, I don't know how much I should be taking. I don't know if there's interactions with this. I don't even know where to begin with this. I really don't. The
Yeah.
only supplements I'm taking right now is fish oil, and I've been doing that for quite some time. Where do we go, Merilee?
Yeah. Confused people do nothing. So, and supplements are, there's so much information out there and it is confusing and it's scary and it's expensive. So you're wondering, is this going to hurt me? Is it going to help me? Am I wasting my money? So yeah, I think you have to be careful and picky and mindful of what you're taking and how you're taking it because you can overdo it as well.
Well, that's just great. So, which are the ones that you feel most of us need or should or could be taking? I'm going to assume that maybe we should do labs before any of this as a, starting point.
Yeah, I think labs are always so helpful because it gives you a starting point too, but also a focus. Like, where are we going to focus? And yes, you could definitely focus on foods that, supply those nutrients that we're missing. The problem is there's actually a study that was done and they found that up to 40% of nutrients, or there's a 40% of decrease in nutrients in our food just less than 50 years ago. So we can attribute that to soil degradation, the way we cook it, the way they're processed, so many things. And then just the functions of the body as well as another layer of it. How well can we absorb it? Are our detox pathways working well? So we know we're not getting probably the nutrition that we need, even when we're eating perfectly.
Mm. So, why don't I just throw some to you and you tell me yay or nay, your thoughts, feelings on all of that. Magnesium. I've got magnesium in my cabinet. Haven't haven't cracked the it's been in there. I can't even tell you. I don't know, 6 months, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. Is that one that supports us? What does it do? All I heard was it can it can have challenges with your digestive system. I don't know too much more.
Yeah, no, it can be used for a lot of things. It can be used for better sleep, a better digestive system. The problem with magnesium is while it can be so helpful, if we overdo it, it can cause kidney issues. So it really is looking at how much am I getting from my food? What am I taking it for? And how long do I need to take it? We probably don't need to take it forever. And that's something probably most people wouldn't know how to navigate.
Yeah, that's me. And then it comes down to the potency. So somebody told me that there's a brand, not selling anything here, but I believe it's called Now, and it's
Mhm.
on, you can get it on Amazon. Somebody told me it's decent. So, and it's, reasonably priced. So, number of the things that I've bought so far and haven't tried, um, is by that brand. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, yeah. I would say it's a good brand. I think you do have to be really picky. Something that I've really looked into is how things are processed, how they're stored, where they're sourced from. All of it matters. I mean, along with our food, but if you're going to pay money to take a supplement, it might as well be working. So there's lots of good brands out there now, even more than 5 years ago. But for an example, sometimes probably 90% of people are taking a multivitamin with folic acid. And we know now that folic acid can actually cause more harm than good. Our food is fortified with it. It's everywhere. But there's research that it can contribute to cancer, cognitive decline, brain development issues for young kids, but it's in everything. And I think the reason why is because our body can't break down folic acid very well. But we have folic acid in our supplements when it can easily be changed to methylfolate, which is already broken down for us, and our body can absorb it readily instead of having it cause problems.
If I'm going by memory here, I thought that folic acid was important for women who are expecting. Am I right? I'm going by memory.
Yeah. So we're all told, make sure you take enough folic acid. So there's a birth defect that can happen if you don't have enough. It's really hard to get pregnant if you don't have enough. But what's interesting is 50% of the population have a genetic variation that we don't, our methyl pathways don't absorb folic acid anyway. So we're taking this folic acid, and what does it do? It's like collecting somewhere, I don't know, causing cancer, causing issues. So of course, talking to your doctor, methylfolate would be much healthier, and you're going to be absorbing it more than folic acid.
Okay. I'm I just reached in the file cabinet right here, and this file cabinet is like wires and headphones and stuff like that. But I threw this in. I don't even know if you've even heard of this, but somebody gave this to me and said it's really important to take. And I'm trying to find the name of it. Okay. Indium, Indium. I know this one is very random. Have you even heard of it? It's supposed to be a trace element.
Indium.
Back in the file cabinet it goes. All right.
Yeah.
It's very random.
So I'm curious what they said was important for it, the use for it.
Age reversing. The book came with it. Single dose, a single drop a day of this completely overlooked nutrient can turn back the aging clock, stimulating a cascade of youth promoting hormones, more energy, stamina, vision. And that's about all I have here. I knew this was random. It just I remembered it was in the cabinet. I threw it in there. Not gonna touch that one. What about other supplements that you feel are important for us?
So the indium is interesting because there are a lot of things that say that, like with age and energy and athletic performance. There's not really a lot of evidence around it. So that's where I always come back to what's the evidence we have. Supplements they don't go through the FDA, which doesn't really say much anyway, my thoughts about the FDA, but there is a lot of research on them if we look, and we can find research that backs up some of these things. And I think that's important. So some of the things I think are important to answer your question: vitamin D, most of us are deficient in vitamin D. We talked about that before. Omegas, most of us aren't eating enough fish, or the fish we're eating don't have enough in it, or they're actually toxic with heavy metals or other, toxins. So we're avoiding them. B12 is extremely important. Again, if it's methylated, a lot of people are getting B12 shots. You can actually take it sublingually, and we know that's just as effective as getting the shots, but a lot of people don't realize just taking it sublingually can help you really absorb it. So those are three I would say are really important.
And with the omega-3s, fish oil, somebody told me years ago, even before people were into fish oil, like he was kind of on the cutting edge. He's a fitness guy, wrote some books. He said, if you're going to do fish oil, always go with a premium brand. Do not go into your pharmacy and just grab, off the shelf. Hey, it's on sale. I use Nordic Natural, and that's what he suggested years ago. You pay a little bit more for it, but I feel that it's a reputable brand and you're getting what you're supposed to be getting, especially in terms of potency. Again, to your point, like why even do it unless you're getting what you should be getting?
Yeah. I think it's a great brand, and I think that's true. you don't know how it's sourced, and some are filtered to get any heavy metals out. The way it's stored matters. If it's stored in a hot warehouse, the potency is going to come down and maybe even be bad for you. So all of that does matter.
Other ones, anything you can think of that we really should be considering when it comes to supplements, vitamins, minerals, all of that?
I think it's a big deal about how you take the supplements too. So whatever we find that you need to be supplementing with, it matters how you take them. Some people just eat them all in the morning and don't think about it. And I know it maybe feels like it complicates it. And that's what we can help you with, is really write out a plan of like, this is when you take it, this is what you take it with. And my goal really is to help you decrease the amount of capsules you're taking, because nobody wants to take 50 capsules a day. It's work and it gets old and nobody wants to do it. So we combine them in a way that makes it more simple and less expensive, obviously, is always helpful. But for example, we take D3 with vitamin K2 because you are absorbing more calcium with D3, but the K2 helps you transport it to your bones and teeth. So we're optimizing what you're taking by pairing it with other vitamins. Same like vitamin C with iron really helps you absorb it. Whereas if you took it with calcium, you kind of negate it altogether.
Let's go multivitamins, because that kind of to me is like the foundation. That's the that's the gateway to all of this stuff. We start taking a vitamin, we feel it supports us. How bad could it be? What are your overall thoughts on that, a multivitamin?
I think if you have a good one, it's a good start and it makes it simple. If you're targeting something specific, it's probably not enough. Like if you have low vitamin D, it may not be enough. Or if you have low iron, it may not be enough. But I think if you're on a good one, it's good for almost everyone to take one, because we're not getting what we need typically.
You bring back some memories for me. Zinc. So I often heard that zinc can help with your immune system. You feel a little cold coming on, you take that, kind of wards it off. So I was taking um, almost like hard candy with zinc lozenge, right? Uh, this is probably about 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So I would take that, and then I'd be driving in my car, and I'm like, you know what? Can't hurt. Let me just grab another one. And then I realized that I was having stomach issues, and it was connected to a diagnosed ulcer. So basically, I was making it worse with the zinc. But to your point, many of us don't know what we're taking and what it's doing. And what I learned was zinc is really bad for your stomach.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Zinc is such a powerful supplement. We know it's essential, an essential mineral, and can help with, like you said, with sicknesses and increasing our immune system. But when we take too much and not for the right reasons, that's where we start having problems. So blood tests are important, but also the symptoms we're dealing with are important to notice too.
How about vitamin C?
So vitamin C is great, and combined with zinc, they really support each other. Here's a difference too. Some vitamins are water soluble, some are fat soluble. So some vitamins we can get rid of out of the body easily, and some, like vitamin D, melatonin, those are actually hormones. So they stay in our body and they can accumulate and cause symptoms. So knowing which ones you can overdo and which ones, are just you're overdoing, but it's just more like a waste of money. But vitamin C is one of those. So you can easily get rid of it. It's hard to overdose on vitamin C, but if you don't need it, then why take it?
How do you know if you need it?
So I think it comes back to symptoms. There's not really a blood test, but is your immune system functioning properly? And what can we do to support it? So, a lot of times we go into the doctor and we have all of these symptoms. And so they put us on a medication and causes more symptoms. But when we can look at the symptoms and say, hey, let's, create a better immune system, create a better gut biome to heal the body, to allow the body to heal itself, which it can, because it's incredible when it has the right tools. we can usually overcome the symptoms we're dealing with. But typically we get put on some sort of medication that just compounds the issue.
Hmm. This is why we need to hire somebody that can direct us. And I totally agree. I'm so on board for somebody like you. Just here's what you need to take. Okay, when do I take it? Here's when you take it. And there's things that we don't even know. Like this is not a supplement, but I know my friend takes cholesterol med, and it's just not super high cholesterol, just kind of the borderline. And it was suggested he take it. Um, and we're out. He's heading home to go to sleep, and he's like, "Yeah, I got to take my cholesterol med." I'm like, "At night?" He goes, "Yeah, that's what I've been told. It's better to take it at night." And he also takes something with it. I don't know if you've even heard of this. Some say it's a vitamin CoQ something 10, but
Oh, CoQ10.
yes, what is that?
So it's interesting too. Sorry, I'm backing up a little bit with the high cholesterol, because that is something we know we can pretty easily fix with, diet, nutrition, exercise, but also we know taking healthy fat supplements like fish oils and omegas can really have an impact on our cholesterol levels. So there's so much we can do. And I'm not saying there's a time and a place for medication, of course, but
Sure.
there's so much we can do before we start doing that.
Yeah, I said that to him too, because there's been times where mine would get a little higher, and then I would just say to the doctor, I know what it is. I already know. It's lifestyle, food, stress, cortisol levels, all of that. And then, I would just address it. And his doctor said that it was just a little too high, and family history and all of that. And I said, well, why couldn't you at least just, give it a try with the lifestyle changes and all of that? And he said that the doctor said that there would be no way he could lower it anytime soon. And that's why they put him on it. I'm one of those people. I don't want to take anything unless I have to. I put that, and that's medication. So I put that over there. I put supplements in a different category. I don't view that as medicine per se, but I'm very, careful, i.e., why my cabinet is full of stuff that I haven't even taken yet, because I haven't talked to you first. But it's a big mystery. A lot of this, like, and to your point, a lot of people take a medication. Maybe they don't need to, or maybe they can look at that in a different way with the right supplements or whatever it might be.
Yeah, genetic high cholesterol is tough because you really are on the edge, and some people can just change what they eat and it lowers in a week. This genetic is I have high cholesterol genetically. My mom does, my daughter does.
Hmm.
And so eating right, yes, but also taking the right supplements is a game changer. And it is possible, but it does take some work and some
Yeah.
figuring out what's needed.
That being said, while we're on the cholesterol thing here, and thanks for sharing that. I don't, look at somebody like your age that has high cholesterol. Um, what are supplements for that? Is there anything that can help support lower cholesterol?
Omegas are great because they have the healthy fats in them. So I think one problem too is this our diet culture mentality over the past few decades. It's like fat is bad, fat is bad. So we've been avoiding fat, and that really, really plays a critical role in our ability to manage our cholesterol levels. So eating good fats, but also supplementing with omegas can be really helpful as well.
Hmm. What do you take?
So that's a good question. I take vitamin D and B12 without fail.
Did
It's
you
something
say
I'm always taking.
vitamin D or vitamin B?
Vitamin D and B's. Yeah.
All right,
B12.
yeah, we're jumping down the Merilee rabbit hole. Woo, here we go. How much of each? How much is reasonable? Vitamin D.
So I draw my blood quite frequently, so I can tell like when it's going up or down. And so I adjust, depending on what the levels are. But I take about 2,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, but I'm extremely low typically. Um,
By the way,
so
I just want to jump in because we're talking about it. I shared that with you a while back that I was extremely low in that. Got on a prescription, went through 2 runs of 50. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, 50,000 units. once per week, and I went. I think there might have been like 4 doses in there. So it was like 4 or 6 weeks, something like that. Let some time go by. Felt a little brain foggy. So I was like, I had vitamin D in the cabinet. So I added it up and took like 40,000, far away from the other doses. I'm due for labs anyway to see if, it's kind of regulated itself. But if you're normally low in vitamin D, does it ever regulate itself and get back to normal, if you will?
I think some things can, like iron, but it really depends on your diet and your lifestyle, right? If you change that, then maybe, but if you're not changing it, then probably not. So, but some things are stored in your body, so you can, get back to where it should be and then maintain it.
Sure.
But I think it takes some changes for sure.
B12, how much do you take?
So I was gonna actually tell you a situation with that because it does change a lot, and I think this is important too because we're talking about just kind of maintaining health, which I think is great. But then you have people who are dealing with like Epstein-Barr, Lyme disease, chronic viruses, just night sweats, skin issues, just so many symptoms and issues, which are probably coming from some lack of something or our body isn't functioning properly. So, like for example, I, have chronic Epstein-Barr virus and I can feel it coming and I know it. And so I change things and I will increase my B12. I will put in some, detoxing supplements that help my immune system function better, clean out my liver, clean out my kidneys so that I can detox better. A lot of times we're put on, even by holistic doctors, we're put on natural antivirals. But what happens is when we start killing viruses, our body sheds like junk. And if we're not detoxing it, it kind of builds up in our lymph system and that creates symptoms, sweating, aches, brain fog. And so it's really important to get your body functioning at optimal levels first before you
Gotcha.
do all that.
With all of this, you get your labs done, you go to your primary, they make a couple of tweaks. Hey, you got to go on vitamin D. Here's a prescription, whatever. Then it ends. That's it. It's, there's you may be close to a limit, but as long as you're in the green, and even if you're not, yeah, take this, and then they walk out of the room in a total of, if you're lucky, 11 minutes. So that's why support from somebody else, very much so holistically, as in yourself, I think is so important to figure this stuff out. Because you imagine, like we talk about brain fog, that's just one, muscle aches, all the other stuff that somebody could be going through, and they don't even realize that it could be coming from all of this. And you could be taking supplements like vitamin D, and feel so much better. Final question here: fish oil. I struggle with not really knowing how much to take. I've looked it up online. I'm still not even sure. Way back, I don't know what I was taking, maybe 2,000 a day. Um, and I gave myself a nosebleed because it thins your blood. And then I got freaked out. I'm like, I'm not taking this for a while. I think I'm on like 1,200 now, assuming it's good potency. Any thoughts on how much?
The standard is 500 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA, which are two different kind of fats per day. So that is, I think that's a very conservative amount. But again, I think it also depends on what you're dealing with and what symptoms you have. And if you have a genetic disposition to heart disease and high triglycerides, so I think that's a very, it's just
Objectionable.
so general. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that would be like daily maintenance is 500, but you could take 2,000 to 4,000 and
Right.
still be sort of in the range.
Yeah, I guess it depends on your body. So I haven't felt any issues with the 1,200. So I'm like sitting on that, and it looks like that's a dose from this particular bottle. Again, goes right back to quality. If you're not taking something of the right potency, you could be taking 1,000, which equates to 300 if it's not, the good stuff. And for a little bit more inexpensive, I think it's so worth it.
Yeah.
And you're worth it to know what the heck we're doing here. How do we find you, Merilee?
So connect the dots, healthcoach.com. And what we really do around supplements is we have a nurse practitioner here that will order blood work, and we can choose. You go into the doctor and they're like, this is what insurance will cover and this is what we're going to order. You should be able to ask for what you want and get what you want and know about yourself. It's your body and your blood work. So we can be really picky based on symptoms of like, hey, let's start here and check this and see what might be going on, which is more cost effective anyway. Then we get the labs, we read the labs, and then we create a protocol based on that and try to, do as many of the things you need with the smallest amount of capsules and money so that it's more efficient, but also sustainable, right? Like you can do this for as long as you need.
Fantastic. And I forgot about you have a nurse practitioner. So that's the game changer right there. Because now you've got like the 360 arsenal of all of this. You don't have to, go to the doctor, see typically an NP at the doctor. Usually they're better anyway. Sorry, I didn't say that. Because doctors are burned out and NPs listen better, in my experience. Thank you so much for today. Learned a lot. Really did.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
And we'll talk soon, okay?
Okay, see you. Bye.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.